All right, so given this class definition for a schema, we want to be able to write a class or create something that will allow us to use this to interact with the database. So to do that, we are going to declare an object that allows us to use this class to interact with the database. So to do that, we're going to, in a separate directory, called repositories. In our repositories, we're going to create a Java class in here that is going to allow us to interact with modules in the database, right? This is going to be it's going to implement basically a generic data access object, right? So let's create a class, and we're going to call it module repository. Okay, and we're going to actually, it's not a class; it's an interface. It's an interface, meaning it's not going to have any actual implementation. It's only going to provide the interface, to interact with the DAO, with the database, right? So we're going to annotate this. What is the actual class? I forget. Common SQL queries. Repository. Auto-wired. Entity. Oh, okay. So yeah, we don't annotate it. We say that this is going to extend CRUD repository. There it is. It's a CRUD repository. And the CRUD repository is part of the JPA interface. And what this does is going to implement, notice the name, CRUD, right? It's going to implement for me already some generic CRUD operations, but I need to configure it. I need to say, what is it that you want to CRUD? I want to CRUD modules. I want to CRUD employees. I want to CRUD students. I want to CRUD faculty. What is it that you want to CRUD? What do you want to create, read, update, and delete? And the way you configure it is through by providing generics, right? By providing the class of what you want to CRUD. You say, I want to CRUD modules, right? It takes two arguments. It needs the class definition. Here's where it's going to know the name of the class, meaning the table is going to be able to know what the table, the name is. It's also in there. It's going to have the name of the list of all the fields, yes, and all their data types, correct? So it will know what select statements to generate or inserts and updates. The second argument needs to know. The second argument it needs to know is the primary key. What data type is the primary key, right? In our case, the primary key for module is an integer, right? So let's provide that as a second argument, integer. Okay. All right. So once we have this repository, we're ready to start interacting with the database. This is going to implement for us, since it extends. It provides an interface that will allow us to do find by ID. It'll provide it for us. It'll have a find all already implemented for us. It will have a save, which is going to be an insert. Actually, the save will behave either as an insert or as an update. It's smart enough to know, right? If this is a brand new object, it'll do an insert. If this is an object that it had already loaded from the memory from the database, it'll do an update. Very smart. Okay. Or it'll do a delete. If delete, it'll remove that a row from the database, right? So we don't have to implement DAOs ever again, right? This implements the DAO for us. All right, so how do we use it? How do we use this?